And it's going to roll right over the head of our own Chris Desano here at midcourt, just 2 seconds in. And that one is going to be off Rhode Island. So it'll be Georgia State ball to start things off here in the first half. Manny Atkins will have inbounding duties, gets it right in to Devontae White. White's going to be picked up at midcourt by Xavier Munford. Quickly over now for Bergilos. Bergilos, top of the key, now gives it back to White. Off to the near side, here's Atkins. Thought about a shot, now gives it up to Bergilos for the left-hander, no good. And another tough rebound there for Mike Powell.
Nice contest of the shot right there by Jordan Hare out of the gates. Made that a very, very difficult look for Bergilos. He back-rimmed it.
So first crack at the offense for the Rams now. Munford back up top for Malone. Cycling around, here comes Mike Powell. Powell picked up by Ryan Green, now gives it up to Malone. 15 on the shot clock for the Rams, which still scoreless here at the Ryan Center.
And Georgia State in their customary matchup zone here today. You're going to see them play that about 80% of the time this afternoon. They'll switch about 20% to a 1-3-1 defense. That's Malone with the excuse me offense right there. Banks one in.
Well, I guess the bank's still open here Saturday afternoon in Kingston as Malone gives the Rams an early 3-0 lead. First 3 points of the game for him. Back the other way now, Green with it, picked up by Mike Powell. 25 still on the shot clock for the Panthers. Plenty of time as Green nearly traveled. Has to give it back up top for Atkins. Atkins puts it on the floor in the battle of 23s. Has to give it up to Green. Green now and the Panthers with only 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Here's White from long range. His shot altered by Xavier Munford, and Malesevic comes away with the loose ball.
Great ball screen defense right there by Rhode Island, and Munford staying with it.
Oh, tricky little attempt that time for Munford. Doesn't go, but what a great look out of Malesevic. Back the other way now come the Panthers. Hunter puts it up. Foot on the line, no good. Malone fighting for the rebound and is able to out-muscle Denny Bergilos. Powell now calls out a new play. Wants to get Hare in motion up top to set a screen. Now kicks it over for Munford. Picked up by Atkins and now Malesevic. Three-pointer, good! And just like that, back-to-back threes for the Rams, and they're on top, 6-0.
Hot start for Rhode Island and good ball movement. You're going to see Rhode Island use a lot of plays and sets that they would against a man-to-man and attacking this matchup zone, because the matchup zone obviously has man principles to it, and that play worked right there.
Devontae White now rotates it over to Atkins, nearly picked up the pivot foot, but was able to get it to Green. Green now kicks it outside. Here's Hunter trying to penetrate, has his shot knocked away. And they're going to call a foul on Mike Powell. That'll be his first and the team's first. And Chris, let's take a look at the road ahead with Chris's keys to the game. Today's road ahead is brought to you by the Chevy Silverado with the lowest total cost of ownership of any full-size pickup. So visit your New England Chevy dealer today for a great deal on a Chevy Silverado.
Well, for Georgia State, first key is disruption. This is a team that's second in the CAA in steals per game. They've got to get out, disrupt, come up with some turnovers and some steals. Second, and we see Hunter exemplifying it right here, get to the line. Georgia State thrives off of getting multiple opportunities at the line, more than their opponents per game, and then finally play even on the boards. Georgia State's a very poor rebounding team. They've got to play Rhode Island even on the boards here to come away with a road victory.
So Hunter, who leads the team in free throw shooting, actually only 1 of 2 there, makes it a 6-1 ball game here at the Ryan Center. Andre Malone brings it back up now, leaves it for Powell. Powell takes a look at the shot clock, now gets it back to Malone. They continue to play catch, and around the perimeter it goes. Here's Malesevic.
And for Rhode Island, as you saw, keys ball screen defense. Georgia State does a lot of ball screen action on offense. Also, Rhode Island has to push in transition, and then finally, they've got to attack the offensive glass and exploit the Georgia State rebounders.
Loose ball scrum, and Mike Powell, the Johnny on the spot, able to capitalize and convert it into points. First 2 points for Powell. The Rams up 8-1 early. Panthers now trying to fight back, still looking for their first basket of the game. Hunter kicks it back outside now. Atkins penetrates to the top of the lane, now has to give it up for White. Devontae White puts it on the floor, now puts a jump shot up, no good. Malesevic fighting hard for that rebound, gets hit from behind by Manny Atkins. That'll be a foul on Atkins. I think good hustle here out of the Rams early on, fighting for those loose balls and almost more importantly, getting those tough rebounds.
Yeah, they really are scrapping inside, Mike. You're exactly right. And the attention to detail on the defensive end is evident as well. Munford really sticking with Devontae White here early, and he is the guy you need to be most worried about from Georgia State on those ball screens. You got to get right up, play him aggressive, and not allow him to turn that corner.
Now the Rhodey coaching staff obviously putting in extra hours in scouting this Georgia State team. They've had a week to prepare since last week's blowout over SMU. Here's Powell for 3, no good, and somehow able to get to his own rebound to keep the possession alive. Malesevic now thought about three. Now goes through the lane outside for Malone. He'll reset now. Powell comes out to greet him at center court. Nice to see the patience out of the Rams here early on, not getting too flustered on the missed shots. Powell back up top for Malone. He'll put it up for three. No good. Malesevic, another rebound. Able to make the fake and convert the layup. The Rams have jumped out to a 10-1 lead.
And there it is, attacking the offensive glass, and Malesevic cashes in right there.
5 early points here for Nick Malesevic, and it takes us to a timeout on the floor. And we will take one, too. With the Rams leading this one 10-1. You're watching Brody Rams basketball here on OSN. And welcome back to the Ryan Center. Mike Mancuso alongside Chris Stefano. The Rams off to an impressive 10-1 start. You know, things really couldn't have gone better for the Rams in that opening 4 minutes.
Yeah, Rhode Island doing all the little things. They're shooting the ball well, obviously, but they're out rebounding Georgia State 6-1, which was one of the keys coming in. Malesevic really muscles his way in right there to collect the second chance points.
Yeah, Malesevic with half of the Rams' points. He's got 5 already in this one, only 4 minutes and 8 seconds in on a near-perfect start to the game for Rhode Island. Looking for their 4th win of the season, their 2nd straight at home.
And for Malesevic, I think that's so important to see here this afternoon. Last game against SMU, he was really focused on both ends of the ball, and you like to see him continue to maintain that focus in the finer points of the game, like rebounding, and not just, you know, from a scoring department perspective.
Atkins puts it up, doesn't get it to fall. Hare comes up with a rebound, and the running Rams come back down the court. Here's Powell. Powell keeps the dribble alive, now backs it out to reset. Calls out the new play, gets Malesevic in motion. Now Munford with it, back up top for Powell. Over for Malone. Picked up by R.J. Hunter. Now the switch on defense, White on Malone. Back outside, Malesevic thought about three, has Hunter in his face, down to 8 on the shot clock for the Rams. Jordan here, trying to work in the lane, puts up the jumper, no good. And coming down with the rebound was James Vincent, who's #1 in blocks in the CAA this year.
And that was excellent defense right there by Georgia State. It's very difficult when the matchup zone sets up and you allow it to set up like that if you're Rhode Island to get a quality look without some type of quick hitting play. They didn't get one there, and Hare had to force one at the end of the shot clock.
Quick ball rotation that time with the miss was Rashad Richardson. As the Rams back on the attack, trying to get something going with Powell on the baseline. Has it rejected by Vincent. We talked about him being one of the lead blockers in the CAA. As unable to finish was Devontae White, but picking up the foul was Xavier Munford. That'll put Devontae White at the line.
Yeah, Powell was able to slither his way in right there, but Vincent, nice active hands, knocked that ball away, and then a very quick outlet down court to White. Munford did a nice job fouling and making sure White was unable to convert the three-point play, potential three-point play.
Devontae White on the season, a 69% free throw shooter. Was named to the Bob Cousy Collegiate Point Guard of the Year list in the preseason.
He's got a lot of mileage on him. Second team all preseason CAA player as well.
Is the leading returning scorer for the Panthers, but can't convert on either free throws. The score remains 10-1 Rhodey. 14.5 to play here in the first half. Mike Powell faced up against Hunter. Now gives it up for Munford. To the corner goes Malone. Inside Hare, back outside Munford. Very quick ball rotation here out of the Rams. Malesevic's three does not go. Rebound collected by Richardson. Up ahead for Hunter, who finishes with the jam. And it's the first basket of the day for the Panthers.
Yeah, streaking down the floor right there. And Georgia State into 1-3-1 now. It's going to be interesting to see how Powell plays against this 1-3-1. Hunters get very long arms out there. Powell, a shorter point guard. You need to be able to throw over that and find your teammates.
Bombs away again for the Rams, but that time off the mark was Xavier Munford from long range. Kreider cutting through, but is going to get whistled for the travel. Too many steps that time. That is going to be just the first turnover for either team here this afternoon. As checking in now for Rhode Island, Alwayne Bigby and Ryan Brooks. First action for them today, along with TJ Buchanan. So the only starters still on the court for head coach Dan Hurley, Mike Powell, and Nick Malesevic. as they try to build on what is now a 7-point lead.
And it's worth noting as we see these substitutions check into the game that Mike Amon will not be playing today for the Rams. He suffered a concussion late in the game against SMU last time out. Thought he was okay, went to bed that night, had some symptoms, and he's being kept out for precautionary reasons here today. He will not play this afternoon.
So the Rams able to get one of their big men, Ryan Brooks, to convert earlier down the floor, and that time slicing through for the Panthers was Manny Atkins, a junior out of Tucker, Georgia. It was a transfer out of Virginia Tech. Sat out last season. Transfer now able to play. So Powell and the Rams up by 7. Now Buchanan.
Georgia State back in the matchup. The difficult aspect of playing against Georgia State's matchup in particular is it seems to have absolutely no rules or patterns to it. They will trail cutters 5 times through, and then the next 5 times on the exact same cut, not trail at all. So Rhode Island really has to try to put them on their heels, attack early, and also score some in transition.
Fighting that time on the interior was Alwayne Bigby, as they were able to pick up a foul on Devontae White. That is only his first personal. 12:52 remaining here. First half. Rams up by 7. Malesevic out in the center court all by himself. Gives it up to Powell. Powell, who is number 1 in the A-10 in minutes played and 9th in NES, averaging 38 minutes a game. Lots of action from Mike Powell. He's really been developing his point guard skills under the tutelage of the entire Brody coaching staff.
A ton of action.
Bigby to the corner. Now Powell drives through the lane. Has it bounce off his shin, though. And able to collect it for the Panthers is Rashad Richardson. Gives it up for Atkins and back for Richardson. They reset up top now with White. Foot on the line. No good. And Bigby there for the Rams. Pushes it ahead through Powell. Powell trying to break down his man, Richardson. Now has to pull it back out. Plenty of time here for the Rams with 25 on the shot clock. Powell able to listen in to Coach Hurley for the new play. They're working now through Buchanan. Powell now open for Bigby. Had a tough time handling the pass, but was able to scrap for the loose ball. Kept alive now, 7 seconds on the shot clock. Powell's going to have to hurry for the Rams. Trying to break through the paint, in through the trees, no good. As his attempt just a little bit short. Quickly in transition, here's Hunter. Coming off a 24-point game against Southern Miss, a game in which they lost by 2 points.
Georgia State buckling down defensively. Dan Hurley recognizes he needs to get a couple scorers in the ball game. Rams have gone stagnant, and Andre Malone, Xavier Munford getting ready to check back into the next whistle.
Kreider going in strong, but has his shot altered by Ryan Brooks. Rams able to collect the rebound. Powell will bring it up again. Just over 11 minutes remaining here in the first half. TJ Buchanan kicks it back out now for Powell. Again, the Rams going at a little bit slower tempo now. Malesevic pulls up for the long-range bomb. No good that time, and Atkins able to haul in the board. Quickly ahead now for Hunter. Tries to break down Malesevic, puts up the little lefty, and is able to get it in.
And you can see why he has all CAA level talent as he matures. Actually, they're going to be playing in the Sun Belt next year. Another realignment mover. But Hunter is quite a good-looking freshman. Yeah,
5 points now for R.J. Hunter. Coach Hurley not exactly liking what he sees out of his Rams as the lead going from 9 down to just 5. And like you said, I think the Rams are struggling with the fact that they didn't seem to have their pure scorers on the floor. Yeah, need to get some scorers in the game. And also just Bigby and some of these other players who necessarily don't see as many minutes and haven't seen a matchup like they're seeing here today that's very disruptive and active. You've seen them fumble the ball a couple of times. You've got to get the ball handlers in there, players like Munford that you can count upon and trust, and then players like Malone, who came out last game and really shot the ball incredibly well. They're going to need that again today from Andre. So we'll have to wait and see what the changes are going to be here for the Rams, but you got to imagine that Coach Hurley is going to make a few. Looks like Munford back in, as is Malone. And getting a little bit of a rest to be Mike Powell. He doesn't come out too often, but looks like he's going to sit next to the car. And perhaps we'll share a couple of quick words before they get him back into the game. Georgia State showing 1-3-1. Munford now. Second leading scorer in the Atlantic 10. Bigby from long range. And he's going to be short on that one. Nearly tipped out of bounds, but able to hold on to it was Denny Bergilos out of Venezuela. And sometimes a shot is available to you for a reason. And for Alwayne Bigby, Georgia State will encourage him shooting 19 and 20-footers all day. He's got to put that one in his hip pocket and look for a teammate or drive the ball to goal. A little bit of Contact between Malone and Hunter. Ball goes out of bounds. Brings us to a timeout here on the floor at the Ryan Center with the Rams on top, 12-7 over the visiting Panthers. Evidence by the Ramettes. And why not be in a festive spirit as the Rams on top 12-7 as we see the upset of the day so far. The A-10's Temple taking down number 3 Syracuse by 4 points.
Temple does it again. They're a team that's going to compete right there in the Atlantic 10 this year for a bye in the first round of the Atlantic 10 tournament, and they've got big shot players like Khalif Wyatt, veterans like Jake O'Brien and Anthony Lee, and that's a huge win for the program.
The Panthers now looking to cut into Rhodey's 5-point lead. R.J. Hunter working against Malone. Puts up the 3 and drains it. Wow, right with Malone in his face. Tough shot that time of R.J. Hunter.
High degree of difficulty, but he has the green light for a reason. That was a pure-looking stroke.
Hunter already with 8 points now on the day for the Panthers. Munford trying to answer. 3 of his own, no good. And the rebound being fought for between Brooks and Atkins. And they're going to say last touch by Brian Brooks.
Yeah, they were tied up there, both with a hand on the ball. It looked like when Brooks pinwheeled, it may have ricocheted off his knee and out of bounds.
Looks like the Panthers are going to check Devontae White and Marcus Kreider back into the game. Out go Vergilos and also Atkins. That was Solomon checking back out. So Ryan Green pushes it ahead through Atkins. Now here's Devontae White. Leaves it for Hunter, a deep 3 ball. That one is no good, but Atkins able to get the rebound and over the back on Malesevic.
Atkins very, very aggressive on the glass. Leads the team with 6.3 rebounds per game on the season. Offensively, he's more of just a shooter. He's not really going to put it on the deck. Transfer from Virginia Tech, but obviously an athletic kid, and he crashed very hard right there.
So the first foul of the day on Malesevic, 3rd team foul. As Kreider has a wild pass over into the hands of Devontae White. Using the screen now from Kreider, and Brooks is going to get called for the reach that time. Ryan Brooks charged with the foul.
Yeah, a little form over substance right there for Brooks. He wanted to hedge out aggressively, but then just took his eye off Ryan Green, and Green was able to exploit the loss in concentration, drive right into his arm, and pick up the reach.
After a slow start, Georgia State now on a 9-2 run has closed the gap down to just 2 points. Early on, Rhodey was up on top 10-1. Since then, Georgia State has been finding its rhythm. And just as I say that, Devontae White stumbles with it out of bounds. It'll allow the Rams to get Jordan Hare back into the game. And Coach Hunter not exactly happy with that last play. So Malone will try to get it in for Rhode Island. Good pressure D there out of the Panthers. Finally able to get it into Hare, and now here's Munford.
Yeah, usually when Georgia State presses, they'll go 2-2-1 zone press. That time they showed man, then backed it off and tried to trap right in that trap zone around the half-court line. Hunter
trying to pick up the charge on Buchanan. It gets waved off. Rams down to 20 on the shot clock. Malesevic now leaves it for Malone. Malone up top, pulled up his dribble. Now finally gives it up to Munford. Leaving it for Malesevic. Inside now Buchanan. Quick little turnaround. Gets it to go. TJ Buchanan makes it a 14-10 Rhodey lead. First 2 of the day.
Yeah, the Rams sorely needed that bucket because a couple of the keys to the game for Georgia State we talked about disruption. They've really been disrupting the initiation of Rhode Island's offense, and then they're playing Rhode Island just about even on the boards now too. So Rhode Island needs some buckets. They got a big one there from TJ.
R.J. Hunter charging in hard that time, able to pick up the foul on Malone. Powell back into the game now for Rhode Island. So the R.J. Hunter inbounding the ball for the Panthers. Now a discussion by the officials. Looks like a little bit of blood coming off of Malone there. The reason for the delay. And again, it was contact that was initiated there by R.J. Hunter as he was penetrating, trying to get around Malone, and then Malone getting charged for the foul. I think perhaps that's what Coach Hurley wondering about, how his man is the one that winds up bleeding when he gets charged with a foul.
Yeah, usually no blood, no foul. In that case, Andre Malone bleeding, but that's what we talked about in terms of Hunter, this freshman. He's wise beyond his years. He's a very, very crafty player, and was able to take advantage of the situation right there and pick up a foul despite being the more physical player. As we take a look, looks like he's was trying to rip through right there and caught Malone with that right elbow right around the lip area.
Here we see Hunter kind of maybe clipped him in the nose that time and bringing that ball over his head. And then there was contact further on at the end of that play.
And there are rules this year with respect to elbows and swinging through and what constitutes a potential flagrant. It certainly seemed like that was inadvertent right there, but they are going to take another look at it.
Yeah, I think just the fact that there was the blood coming off of Malone there just maybe warranted another look at it. But in real time, Chris, there really didn't seem to be anything egregious there on Hunter.
No, he was just trying to make a nice aggressive rip through and then take that baseline drive to the hole. There it is again.
So again, the Rams leading this one 14-10 and got off to a really great start here in the opening 4 minutes. They were leading 10-1, but since then, they've allowed the visiting Panthers to kind of climb back. And you know, one thing that might be on the mind of the Rams as well, Chris, is a little bit of a revenge factor. As last year, these Panthers pasted the Rams 96-64 in a tough road game for Rhodey last year.
That one got out of hand very early, and that was a game that it just appeared.
Makes good on the first. So it took a lot of time. The refs at least talked it over. Coach Hunter still trying to get an explanation. As Malone, the best free throw shooter on the Rhodey team with an 80% free throw percentage. Makes the second one as well. So the lead at 6 points now for the Rams. And we'll have to keep this little moment of the game in mind here as we move along, as the lead was cut down to 4. There was a foul on Rhodey, then it got reversed. Flagrant foul called against R.J. Hunter. Rhodey makes 2 free throws, and they get the ball back. So here's Powell now and the Rams as they go back to work.
By the letter of the rule, evidently the refs determined a flagrant foul, and this could be a huge point in the ballgame.
Malone now looking inside for Jordan Hare. Going up strong and got hit on the way up. I think it might have been Marcus Kreider that got a penalty. Either way, it takes us to a timeout here on the floor. We'll be back with more Rhodey Rams basketball with the Rams leading Georgia State 16-10. And welcome back to the Ryan Center. Festive spirit with the Rams leading by 6 at the 7:55 mark. And again, Chris, the Rams got off to that hot start, up 10-1. Since then, things have kind of slowed down considerably, especially after that long delay in figuring out that what turned out to be a flagrant foul on R.J. Hunter. But sometimes it's interesting to see how these teams respond, especially mentally.
Yeah, it was a very crisp pace early on. Not too many turnovers on the part of either team, and it has slowed to a molasses-type pace at this point in time. And we'll see how each of these teams responds after Georgia State had made that run, and Rhode Island the beneficiary of the flagrant foul call.
The Rams with possession now and a 6-point lead. Mike Powell looking for Malone. Malone's going to be picked up here by Richardson. Using a screen now from Hare off to Malesevic and over to Powell. Powell trying to get movement out of his guys. Looks like Hare might have been running the wrong play that time. A little bit of confusion here out of the Rams.
Yeah, absolute confusion. And someone needs to make aggressive plays early in the shot clock and not get into situations like that where Malesevic bails you out, but that's not the shot that you want ideally against this zone.
Yeah, Malesevic connecting from downtown. 8 points for the senior out of Serbia now on the afternoon. Kreider trying to penetrate around Hare, and that time really got the step on the freshman.
Aggressive move right there by Kreider. Out of Bridgeton Academy, good strong player. He's going to be a quality contributor for this Panther team for years to come.
That was the first 2 points of the day from the freshman out of Dayton, Ohio. Munford now camps out beyond the 3-point line. Now looks inside for Hare. Hare has it stripped away. Loose ball on the ground picked up by Richardson and then turned right over. Powell on the spot there for the Rams. 3rd turnover of the day for the Panthers. The Rams so far with just 2. Malone looking inside. Malesevic, who's had the hot hand early on. Can he continue? Yes, he can. Dials it in from long range again. Nick Malesevic now with 11 points on the day.
The senior is carrying this team right now as they push the lead to double digits with 6:25 remaining.
Largest lead of the day for the Rams, sitting at 10 points now. As I think it was Munford getting charged for the foul. Take another look at that last play. And a good ball rotation.
There's the flash by Malesevic, and then just miscommunication. No one goes with him. He's wide open, knocks it down.
Now, we got to remember that Malesevic in his sophomore year, one of the best three-point shooters in the country.
Yeah, 45.8%, 19th in the nation that year.
So he definitely can fill it in from a long range as the Rams able to force the action again. Here's Powell. Holds up for Malone, who fell down. Ball tipped out of bounds off of Powell. It'll be Panthers ball.
That's a difficult call right there. I think it was a coin flip, but the referee was sort of shielded from the action. It seemed to me like it went off the Georgia State player, but to no avail, and it's Georgia State ball.
And also tough break for the Rams, and Malone slipping on the court there. Good presence of mind out of him, though, not to just deflect it out of bounds. White cutting through the lane, high off the glass, no good. Ryan Brooks, another rebound for the Rams, pushes it up now for Mike Powell. Powell coming off perhaps his best game in a Rhodey uniform last week against SMU. Continues to thrive here under the new coaching staff. Buchanan puts it on the floor, cuts through the lane, little floater off the glass, no good. And Ryan Green there for Georgia State.
And quick point, Malone was not ready for that pass in the corner. He has to beat the pass. If he's going to step in and take a shot, he was open there. He could have pulled the trigger.
And a little excuse me foul there on Ryan Brooks as R.J. Hunter really able to sell it that time, making it look like he was getting a little bit of whiplash that time, working his way around the perimeter. Team foul number 6 on the Rams as Jordan Hare checks back in. That was the second foul on Brooks. Brooks will take a seat on the bench. Atkins will inbound it for the Panthers. Gets it right into Devontae White. Picked up right away by Mike Powell. Now leaves it for Kreider. Kreider really making another strong move. And Hare able to come down with the rebound, but turns it right over to Kreider, who is retreating back, and then Kreider knocks it out of bounds. Crazy sequence that last moment there for both teams. And Hare seems to be just a little bit off his game here today so far.
Yeah, he's just a step slow, and Kreider putting a lot of pressure on him by using the physicality that he has, that advantage over Hare to take it right at him.
Powell quickly the other way. Jumper doesn't go. R.J. Hunter with the rebound. He'll hand it off to White.
Nice decision by Powell. Did everything but drop the shot right there.
Kreider forcing his way through, and will get called for the offensive foul as establishing position with Jordan Hare.
And his ears must have been burning that you just mentioned it, because next time down the court, dug in deep and picked up a solid charge call.
And it will be the second foul charge to Marcus Kreider. The two freshmen going at it. Yeah, he just kind of lowered the arm that time and bowled over Jordan Hare.
Hare barely got there in time, but I think it was that left hand in particular, along with the body contact, the left hand warded Hare off and made it an easy charge call.
Malone now trying to penetrate. Pass the wheel back outside for Powell. Powell on White, now gives it to Buchanan. And I think they're going to get Powell for the foul, as he might have caught Devontae White that time. White surely acting like he was hit that time, and we're assuming that Powell did get a piece of him. Not sure if it's going to warrant another replay look here by the officials to see if it's a flagrant, but you got to figure they did it for the Rams. They're going to do it for the Panthers, especially with all the chatter coming out of head coach Ron Hunter after the flagrant foul charged to his son, R.J. Hunter. Let's take another look here at the play. Mike Powell. Keep an eye on the elbows. Ooh,
yeah, that's a tough call there. And I thought the call on Hunter was a tough call too. But in that particular instance, Powell pivoting and then essentially is moving his arms across in an effort to pass the ball.
And I'm not even convinced that he caught him that time.
He may not have. He may not have. Take another look.
I mean, even in that super slow motion, it looks like maybe a little bit of a makeup call perhaps then for the R.J. Hunter foul earlier on. As that one certainly did not look like he caught him. And White on the season, a 69% free throw shooter.
And even if he did, Mike, again, that was on a pass, which to me is different than trying to rip the ball through for purposes of gaining an advantage. And again, I didn't think that Hunter's was overly malicious either, but Powell's was even less so.
So White converts on the second of his free throw attempts, now 1 of 4 from the line today. And again, he's a 69% free throw shooter, so a little bit cold so far to start the afternoon at the line. So again, with the flagrant foul, the 2 shots, and now the Panthers with the ball as well. So again, the 2 flagrant fouls have now pretty much even themselves out, although Rhodey gets a little bit better edge there as they were able to connect on both free throws. Georgia State will advance it to Atkins.
And Malesevic crowding Atkins. That's what you want to do. Make him put the ball on the deck. He wants to camp out there, float around, and shoot shots. If he's forced to bring the ball up, you have to get right up on him.
R.J. Hunter trying to force the action again. And you can sense the tension in the building. The fans not liking what's being called. It's going to be a 1-and-1 now for R.J. Hunter. I think the problem is Hunter is initiating the contact and then also kind of trying to sell it with an extra dramatic flair. We take another look at it.
Well, he is billed as being wise beyond his years, just a freshman, and savvy play. Once again, an aggressive hedge by Hare, but you're exactly right, Mike. Hunter initiates that contact.
So Hunter now connects on the first free throw. 9 points on the day for the freshman out of Indianapolis. 2-time CAA Rookie of the Week already this season. And kind of interesting to note, Chris, that he had never been coached by his father until he landed at Georgia State.
I'm sure his dad's very happy that he's here and has the opportunity to coach him. He's certainly something to coach his son, and also a great talent.
Hare looking for the jam, gets fouled on the way in by Bergilos. And Hare will head to the line. And coming into the game, Chris, Jordan Hare converting most of his field goals on dunks.
Yeah, 14 of his last 15 field goals were dunks, and that's what we like about Jordan. He doesn't elevate to lay the ball in. He elevates to jam it down. And
for every free throw made by the Rams this season at the Ryan Center, CVS Pharmacy will donate $25 to the Easter Seals of Rhode Island. CVS Pharmacy, proud partners of University of Rhode Island basketball. As Hare able to convert on his first point. That's just point number 1 on the day for Jordan Hare. Able to get point number 2, and the lead back up to 9 now for the Rams, 24-15.
Rams picking up full court.
So we'll see if the pace of this game will pick up a little bit as it was in the opening minutes. Atkins, little 360 move, doesn't get to go. Hare with the rebound, and this time covers it up, Chris. Nice job by Jordan Hare.
Yeah, Hare stuck his nose right in there, grabbed that board. He's really come to life the last 3 or 4 game minutes of this contest here today.
Buchanan now. The Rams trying to add to what is now a 9-point lead. Gives it over to Malone. Cross court for Bigby. Thought about 3. Wisely holds up. Now gives it to Buchanan. In the lane, outside it goes. Malone. 3-pointer. No good. Malesevic again fighting for the rebound. Hunter able to go partially over the back. And knocked out of bounds by Rhode Island. Much to the disliking of Nick Malesevic. But that brings us to another timeout here on the floor. We'll take 1-2. The Rams leading by 9. We'll be back with more Rhodey basketball here on OSN. And welcome back to the Ryan Center. Rhodey happy with how things are going here. Rhode Island out to a 24-15 lead with 3:24 remaining in the first half. And a reminder that coming up at the half, we'll have a look back at last week's SMU game, along with stats and highlights from the first half. It'll be Georgia State ball. Coming out of the timeout is Mike Powell getting another rest on the bench. Perhaps trying to conserve the young point guard. As this game goes along, again, Powell, the A-10 leader in minutes per game at 38. R.J. Hunter, the acrobatic move, and don't know how he was able to get that one in, Chris.
Very, very impressive for him to be able to collect that ball after it was tipped, and he seemed to even lose his footing. Collect it and scoop it up and in.
Hunter now with 12 of Georgia State's 17 points on the afternoon.
Just 2 under his season average.
Great first half out of the freshman. Malesevic now trying to cut through the lane, puts up the jumper a little bit short, and quickly in transition, here comes Devontae White. White penetrates and lays it in for 2, and just like that, the lead down to 5.
And a couple of buckets at the rim for Georgia State, and that's what they need to do to get back in this ball game is attack. Rhode Island, until those last 2 buckets, was holding them to 26% shooting from the field.
As we have a kicked ball on R.J. Hunter, so it'll stay with Rhode Island. 2:34 remaining here in the first half. Coach Hunter pretty animated out there on the sideline for the Panthers. And had a lot of success at IUPUI. And has already more than 300 career victories.
And yet to reach 50 years old.
Yeah, very impressive. Malone now. There's a call out, a new play with about 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Now puts it on the floor himself. Puts up the jumper. Gets it to go. Andre Malone with a big shot for Rhode Island.
Big shot indeed, and a tough shot. He was blanketed right there, but was able to elevate and get that one to fall.
Devontae White trying to answer for Georgia State. Little push off of Buchanan. Now gets it out to Hunter. Hunter all the way back out towards center court. Now leaves it for Green. And here's Richardson. Check that. That's Kreider who's back in. Marcus Kreider gives it back out to Green. Green along the baseline. Throws it to White. 8 on the shot clock for the Panthers. White trying to penetrate. Has it altered by Malone. Went down hard. And Malesevic gets poked in the eye by Kreider. And if that is indeed on Kreider, which it is, that's going to be his 3rd personal of the half. And he'll probably have to head back to the bench as Malesevic in a bit of pain there after taking that shot from Kreider.
Slow to get up. Seems like he's okay. Let's take a look.
It's White with the initial move there through the lane. Malesevic, you see him go up strong. And Kreider, yeah, just trying to flick the ball out of his hands. Caught him in the face. And that'll put Nick at the line. 69% free throw shooter on the season. Malesevic averaging just over 12.5 points per game. Misses on the front end of a 1-and-1. And the Panthers able to regroup with the rebound. Here's David Travers. Travers now leaving it for White. Under 90 seconds left in the first half. Atkins leaving it for Travers. Now Hunter. Hunter, who's been doing it all for Georgia State so far in the first half. Atkins kicks it outside. White for 3. Count it. Devontae White cuts the Rhody lead down to 4 with a big 3 ball.
And T.J. Buchanan had an extremely difficult decision to make right there. Atkins, a 44% three-point shooter, leads the CAA. He had to go with Atkins. Left Devontae open. Atkins was able to take a couple dribbles and find his teammate who knocked it down.
Yeah, Devontae White now with 6 points on the day. Under a minute to play, and we're going to have a foul away from the ball. Doing battle inside the paint were Denny Bergilos and Jordan Hare. They're going to get Bergilos for the foul. That's his 2nd. Puts Jordan Hare at the line for a 1-and-1. Hare, a 54% free throw shooter on the season. It's 2 points so far. Again, it's a 1-and-1, which Malesevic just had missed the front end of a 1-and-1. And here's where we've seen in some other games for Rhode Island this year, they have struggled on these front ends of 1-and-1s, Chris. And especially as the game progresses down the stretch, you've got to start hitting some of these shots.
Yeah, taking points off the board for yourself and seeing leads evaporate quickly, but Hare able to get that first one to go, and he'll get another.
So lead back up to 5 now for Rhode Island. So see Hare, who averaging just over 5 points a game. Misses on the 2nd attempt. Hunter with the rebound. And here come the Panthers in transition with Travers. Leaves it now for Hunter. Tight defense out of Malone. Hunter nearly has it stripped away by Bigby and goes down hard. And we're going to get a push on Rhode Island. And the entire Rhody coaching staff not happy with that one. As Alwayne Bigby picks up his first foul of the day. It's going to be team foul number 9 on Rhode Island. And again, that's going to put R.J. Hunter back at the line. Hunter, who has 12 points already. A 1-1 opportunity. Back in for Coach Hunter is Ryan Green.
And Rhode Island very active on the perimeter right there. I know the coaching staff doesn't like it, but it did seem to me like Bigby got a couple hands in there and that was a legitimate foul.
Hunter looked pretty smooth on that first free throw. 13 points now for R.J. Hunter. We'll see what led to the foul.
Take a look. Now it's a scrum for the ball. And it seemed to me like Bigby extending that left hand, which made contact with Hunter's face, is what got him the call. Whether or not it was incredibly hard contact is a different story, but it's what the referee sees, and it did seem to connect with his face.
Well, after the second made free throw there, the lead down to just 3 points now. Georgia State's going to call timeout. It's going to be about a 3.5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. See what the strategy will be here for the Rams coming out of this timeout. And University of Rhode Island basketball is brought to you in part by Wakefield Liquors, fine wines, beers, and liquors, uniquely designed to relax and browse through your favorite selections. That's Wakefield Liquors.
And all you need to know about it being the R.J. Hunter show here in the first half is he has 14 out of his team's 24 points, Mike. 4 for 6 from the field. The entire rest of the team combined just 5 for 18. So he's been efficient and very productive. The rest of the team has really struggled, but he's picked them up.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Rhodey does after reviewing that box score at the half. But before then, the Rhodey Rams here trying to add to what is now down to a 3-point lead. They've led by as many as 10 in this first half, which was a little bit longer than most first half, thanks to some video replay reviews and flagrant fouls and extra free throws. But the Rams now trying to get one last shot before the end of the half. Here's Malone for 3, has it blocked. And Atkins able to come up with the rebound, pushing it ahead now is White. Down to 1 second in the half. White looked to be putting it up late, and it's going to be waved off. So the Rams will head into the locker room, leading this one by 3.
Nice job by Mike Powell.
Center Mike Mancuso alongside Chris DeSano. The Rams with a 3-point lead. We saw it go all the way up to 10 and now back down to 3. What do you think was the main message from Coach Hurley there at the half?
Well, I think it had to be ball movement. This Rhode Island team only shooting 36% through the first half. Just 4 assists on only 9 made buckets. And they really got stagnant there over the last 8 minutes or so. So I look to see some crisp ball movement early on and some real, attacking. You've got to get this Georgia State team on their heels and not let them dig in this matchup.
Well, assist a very key number in that SMU game as Malone shot falls short as the Rams were able to assist on 17 of their 25 field goals in that win. So back the other way now, R.J. Hunter and the Panthers. Devontae White tries to get around here, now rotates it over for Ryan Green. Green puts it on the floor, now gives it up for Atkins. Looking inside for Bergilos, who wasn't quite ready for the pass.
Yeah, Bergilos was caught right there, a little nonchalant, deflected off his hands out of bounds. It'll be Rhode Island ball, and you're going to see it looks like, here's the 2-2. Now they backed it off.
And that was just turnover number 4 on the afternoon for the Panthers. Rhode Island with just 3 turnovers in the first half. As a team, Rhode Island averaging 11.6 on the season. Powell and the Rams now trying to increase a 3-point lead. Munford, who was held scoreless for his second straight game in the first half. He had 11 in the second half against SMU. As Malesevic able to drive in with the left hand off the glass.
Excellent offense right there. Stationing Malesevic right around that foul line area, and then he's got a mismatch, able to take a big off the dribble. He did that, used his quickness advantage to get to the glass for 2.
Malesevic now with 13 points is heading in strong was White. And we get one of those, as the fans like to refer to, a mystery foul on Malesevic. They're going to say he had a little bit of contact on White as he penetrated there along the baseline. Let's take another look at it.
That looked pretty clean.
Certainly did. Devontae White now back at the line. 1 of 4 on the afternoon so far is White. And make it now 2 of 5 as Hurley not happy with that last call, and neither were the fans here at the Ryan Center. Lead now back at 4. Make it 3 as White able to connect on both free throw attempts. Malone able to get it in for Munford. Still looking for his first points of the game. Turns it over as White able to steal and finish. Devontae White with 4 quick points and the lead down to just 1. A game in which Rhode Island has led throughout the entire way.
And Munford was ushered down the sideline by 1 defender, and White snuck in from the backside and pilfered that.
This turnover number 4 on the day for Rhode Island. Powell now leaves it off for Malesevic. Trying to penetrate again. Hit on the way up by Bergilos. And we'll see if they put him on the line, if they say before he was shooting. Either way, it's going to go on Denny Bergilos. And indeed, they are going to say that he was not in the act of shooting. Well, they're going to charge it to Atkins. Instead, so the Rams able to get it back into Malesevic. Trying to get through a pair of Panther defenders off the glass. No good. Hair with the rebound. A little turnaround. Gets it to go. Little friendly Ryan Center roll that time for the freshman.
Good weak side board right there by Hair. And Rhode Island has to do that. Only 2 offensive rebounds in the first half.
That's something that needs to be a point of emphasis here for the Rams. Georgia State not one of the stronger rebounding teams that they will face. R.J. Hunter puts up the jumper. Doesn't go. A little bit too strong that time. Malone able to haul in the board for the Rams. He'll push it up himself. Malone now pulls it up and resets through Powell. Powell giving great distance between him and Green. Here now looking inside for Malesevic. Malesevic through two Panthers. Gets hit on the way in. And he will head to the line for a pair of free throws.
Not sure if they called that. Yeah. They called that to Atkins because Hunter, it seemed like, came in from the backside and got that ball clean, but I guess it was Atkins with the body.
And that's going to be 3 fouls now on Manny Atkins, the redshirt junior out of Tucker, Georgia. Panthers leading three-point shooter.
That transfer from Virginia Tech, played a couple seasons there. They've got some talented athletic players on this ball club.
So Malesevic now puts it up and can't get it to go. R.J. Hunter there for the Panthers. Devontae White will bring it up for Georgia State. Looking at a 4-point deficit now. Kreider kicks it outside, but way outside. As I think we're going to get an offensive foul on Kreider. He's a little bit incredulous, but that's what's going to be the call, as he just went a little bit too hard there through the lane, got a little bit out of control. And that's going to be 4 now on Marcus Kreider.
Yeah, the freshman picks it up, just gets up ahead of steam here. And this is sort of the one area that we've heard, that Kreider needs to really shore up. He had 14 turnovers coming in just about 13 minutes of action per game. So when he puts it on the deck, he tends to get a little bit out of control.
So let's see how the Rams can respond. Here's Munford still looking for his first 2 points, and there they are. And Munford's points gives Rhode Island a 6-point lead.
And just as he did in the second half against SMU, Munford trying to get himself going by attacking the goal.
So it brings us to a timeout on the floor. We're going to take one, too, with the Rams up 34-28. We'll be back with more Rhody Rams basketball here on OSN. And welcome back to the Ryan Center. Rhode Island leading 34-28 as we take a look at the Muse Tavern What's on Tap upcoming schedule. Okay, next up for the Rams on Thursday will be a big road contest in California to take on St. Mary's before they return home after the new year to take on Brown. And then they begin A-10 play against Richmond. The Muse Tavern, more than just a restaurant and home of the Dan Hurley radio show. For more information, visit musetavern.com. Bergilos now being challenged loosely that time by Hare, has to give it up to White. White trying to penetrate, able to get the scoop shot up and in, and the lead back down to 4 for the Rams.
Too much room given right there by Hare. If you're going to hedge out on that screen, you've got to get right up to the shoulder of your man, because if you leave even a crevice, they will slip through it. These guards are very aggressive off the bounce.
Devontae White now with 12 points and another foul. That's going to be his second, as he got tangled up with Mike Powell right in front of us. So already the 4th team foul on the Panthers. The Rams with just 1, and we haven't even got 4 minutes into this second half. Powell now with a fresh shot clock to work with. A little bit of early pressure that time out of White and Richardson. Malone gives it up to Munford. Back to the corner for Malesevic. Thought about 3, now drives inside. Runs right into Bergilos. And they're going to whistle Bergilos for the foul.
Nice move by Malesevic. He could have pulled the trigger in the corner with a defender flying at him, but sensed that, put it on the deck, drove strong, and was able to get himself a trip to the line for 2 here.
Now, here's another opportunity for Rams to kind of take their game to the next level. They got to start hitting their free throws. Malesevic, who's 1 of 3 on the day, make it 2 of 4 now for the big senior out of Serbia, and averaging just under 13 points a game on the season. A 69% free throw shooter, connects on both, and the lead back at 6 for the Rams. Devontae White this time picked up all the way on his own end of the court by Mike Powell. Pushes it up ahead for Bergilos. Ryan Brooks now in to challenge Bergilos. Hunter to quick dish on the inside as Atkins gets fouled hard that time. Malesevic got all of Atkins on the way down.
Yeah, Malesevic came over with his left arm and really took Atkins down hard. Didn't seem dirty, but Malesevic elevated, had nowhere to go, and he landed right on Atkins' head.
brings us to another timeout on the floor. We'll be back with more Rhody Rams basketball. Back to the Ryan Center, Mike Mancuso alongside Chris Desano. Rhode Island still clinging to a 6-point lead. As during that timeout, Nick Malesevic leaving the bench and heading into the locker room. Again, he went down pretty hard on that last foul where he took down Atkins, which kind of got the Georgia State bench fired up a bit.
Yeah, and Rhode Island certainly hopes that it's not anything serious with Malesevic. 16 points here in this game on 5 of 9 shooting, and really the only consistent scorer for them all afternoon. So they need his presence in this game and back in it quickly.
Yeah, the next closest in scoring for the Rams is Andre Malone with 7 points. Behind him is Jordan Hare with 5. So Malesevic really leading the way on the offensive end for Rhode Island so far this afternoon. They hope to get him back soon. He still has not returned. Atkins misses the first free throw, now lines up the second. That one is going to roll in. So the lead down to 5 points now for Rhode Island, who are without Malesevic. TJ Buchanan staring at some high-pressure defense here out of the Panthers. Powell now races it ahead. Powell takes it all the way in, lays it up, and gets called for the offensive foul. Coach Hurley can't believe it.
Yeah, Powell really got himself going right there. And I think he just took it one dribble too deep. Right there, he's going to pull up from 4 or 6 feet and knock that shot down. I know the collision was a little bit awkward. I'm not sure the defender was set, but you're rarely going to get that call when you get up that much of a head of steam and fly right into someone.
And it was decision time for Coach Hurley, as Powell now with 3 personal fouls. And we've still got 15 and a half to play, so Powell has to take a seat on the bench. Alwayne Bigby in for the Rams. R.J. Hunter feeds it into Bergilos. Blocked from behind by Ryan Brooks. Ball still loose and scooped up by Munford. Munford races past White. Leaves it back behind for Brooks. Off of him to Buchanan. And another offensive foul, Chris. As that's really been a big story here this afternoon at the Ryan Center.
Yes, it certainly has. And right there, I didn't see the offensive foul on Buchanan. If anything, that's just a no call and you let the teams play on.
So Malesevic has returned to the bench for the Rams. Good to see him back there. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in for Rhody. Richardson now pulls up for the jumper. Nothing but net that time, and the lead back down to 3. Buchanan looking to find someone to get it into. Able to get it to Bigby, and now up ahead for Munford. Munford 1-on-2. Runs into Bergilos, and that time they'll get the blocking foul.
Yep, finally we get a blocking call on either end of the floor. And Munford, again, attacking the rim, trying to get himself going here in the second half. Got a bucket a few minutes ago off the window, and now he gets himself to the line for a couple.
And that's going to be 4 fouls now on Bergilos. So 2 players with 4 fouls for Georgia State, Bergilos and Kreider. Is Munford a 66% free throw shooter on the season?
And that's particularly important for Georgia State because Bergilos and Kreider are a couple of their players who are more active on the boards. Georgia State's been able to do a good job today, as you see Bergilos sliding and still moving and picking up that blocking foul. Kreider and Bergilos give them presence on the boards. Otherwise, it's essentially Vincent alone down there. Rhode Island has not been able to exploit them, but if those 2 guys are out of this game, it could be a different story as we get into the 8-minute mark.
So Munford rattles it home, pushes the lead back up to 5 now for Rhode Island. 14:40 left to play here in the second half. Still plenty of time. And Chris, this Georgia State team throughout the season has played a lot of close games. 5 of their games already decided by 1 or 2 points, including their last 2, which they've lost by a combined 3 points. So this is a team that hangs around for most of the game.
And they won a couple of others at the buzzer. Richardson won 2 games essentially at the buzzer. Hit a 3-pointer with 3 seconds left a few weeks back, and then a half-court shot.
Yep, even with the 2 losses in a row by 2 or less points. Prior to that, they had won 3 games by 2 or less points. White now, up ahead, hands it off to Hunter. Trying to get around Brooks, now picked up by Bigby. Gives it over to Atkins. Atkins trying to muscle his way past Malone through the lane and is going to get hit on the way in. And Malone looks to be in a little bit of pain. He's calling for the sub.
He caught a shot in the left shoulder. Looks like he's got a little bit of a dead arm right now.
So we take another look at it. Malone already looked to be in a little bit of pain there.
Not sure. It's tough to see what he did, but he was grimacing.
Could have been before that. That's 4 points now for Atkins. Malone holding the upper arm.
That bicep area. Bicep. Mike Montero, the trainer, working on the back of that shoulder.
So Malesevic able to check back in for Rhode Island as Atkins connects on both free throws. So lead down to 3 for the Rams. That's what it was at the half. It's fluctuated between 1 and 10 throughout the contest. 10 the biggest lead, and that was in the first half. Munford into the corner for Malesevic. Got caught in some trouble. And Buchanan able to get to the loose ball. Bigby, maybe his eyes got a little bit too big as he was flashing through the lane.
Bigby does not get too many offensive opportunities, and he had about as much of a bunny layup as you could have right there and fumbled it away.
We're going to take another look at what we think might have happened to Andre Malone. See him at the top of the screen there as he flashes out to take on Atkins. You saw him swipe his arm there and perhaps maybe opted out a little bit. Either way, he's still working with the trainer at the end of the roadie bench. There's the Panthers with a chance to tie here. Richardson has it stripped away. And they're going to say a jump ball as T.J. Buchanan and Mike Powell were off to the races. So the ref's not making any fans here at the Ryan Center today.
Wow, that's a difficult call. There was not a real tie-up there. It was more of Buchanan just showing strength and ripping that ball away fairly quickly.
And the possession arrow in favor of the Panthers, so the jump ball call will keep the ball with Georgia State. 17 on the shot clock remains. And it comes now for Kreider, who's out there with the 4 fouls. Devontae White picked up by Powell. Again, another chance for Georgia State to tie things up if they can hit the 3 ball. White trying to penetrate, now kicks it out for Atkins. Atkins, fadeaway jumper, no good. And Munford able to haul it in for Rhodey. And
credit Ryan Brooks on that play. Forced White to retreat on that ball screen, really got out there and hedged aggressively, and the result was a poor shot attempt by Georgia State.
Munford now has it tipped away by Atkins. Atkins heading in. Blocked by Munford. Oh, what a well-timed jump by the X-Man. Powell has his shot rejected that time by R.J. Hunter on back-to-back blocks by both teams.
Back and forth block party. What an athletic play by Xavier Munford to sense exactly when Atkins was going to elevate, be patient enough as we take another look.
As Atkins heading in, thought he was going to go all alone, and all of a sudden
patient enough to elevate and not pick up the foul call, get all ball.
Yeah, just a perfect block that time for the 6'2 Munford. Rhode Island trying to add to their 3-point lead. Mike Powell has to spin back and hand off to Malesevic. Back now for Powell. 10 on the shot clock for the Rams. Powell through the lane, has it rejected by Hunter. Ball still loose, and touching it on the baseline was Kreider. So it will stay with Rhode Island. Shot clock will remain at 5 because there was no change in possession. So let's see the court awareness now for the Rams. Munford puts up the 3, no good. Malesevic fighting hard, able to get it in. Tough rebound, tough shot, but the big man comes through for the Rams.
Senior leadership being shown here today by Malesevic, and as we talked about earlier, these last couple of games, he really seemed to have been doing the little things better, hustling, scrapping, fighting on both ends of the court. And those 2 points were as big as any here this afternoon. 18
points now for Nick Malesevic to lead all Rhode Island players. The lead back up to 5. Hunter trying to answer. His 3 no good. Ball loose. Atkins nearly traveled. Kicks it out for White from the elbow. Gets it to go. Makes it 40-37 as Georgia State's going to call timeout to talk things over. 14 points now for Devontae White. Again, coming into this one, averaging just under 15 points. Really part of the two-headed monster that is the Georgia State offense in R.J. Hunter and Devontae White.
Yeah, White heating up here in the second half. At halftime, he had just 6 points on 2 of 7 shooting, and he's coming alive now, up to 14 here. And they're going to need him, Georgia State is, if they're going to stay in this ballgame and try to pull one out on the road. For Rhode Island, it just continues to be Nick Malesevic today. Just outstanding job by Nick on both ends.
Yeah, and really, though, the problem for the Rams here in the second half, Chris, has to be turnovers. They had only 3 in the first half. They now have 9, so 6 second-half turnovers after doing such a great job of taking care of the ball in the first half. That's got to have the coaching staff fired up.
I'm sure it does, and uncharacteristic of this team, which normally takes care of the ball exceptionally well as far as, how they're doing on the year as a whole. So 6 turnovers is something they have to remedy, and they've got to make sure that they stem the tide on that with 11:35 remaining.
Yeah, on the season, 11.6 turnovers per game for the Rams, and that is 38th nationally. Take another look at that block from Munford. There's that first little hesitation, I think, is when Atkins thought he was going to go up. And then a little stutter step, and then elevation by Munford for the rejection.
Yeah, Munford almost bunny hopped one time and then was able to quickly elevate again. I think that the ability to do that back-to-back so quickly surprised Atkins. It certainly did, because his shot was sent the other way.
Anyway, you look at an extremely athletic play out of Xavier Munford. Not many people could really do that. The timing involved and the muscle control is extraordinary to pull that off, and he certainly did it for the Rams. So Powell now, give it over to Munford, trying to get some separation with him and Richardson. Back up top now for Powell. Already down to 11 on the shot clock for the Rams. Malone's back in after nursing that shoulder injury. Munford trying to cut through, lays it up, no good, and kept alive now for the Panthers. Devontae White comes away from the basket with the rebound. Leaves it off for Richardson. And now Atkins.
Munford was almost able to squeeze that one up, and then Kreider just made him get that shot off a little too quickly.
Richardson able to hit from downtown. He has had 2 game-winning threes already this season, and that's a big one to tie things up. First time we've been tied since 0-0 here, Chris, as Georgia State has found its way back in this one.
Yeah, the Georgia State bench into it, and Rhode Island certainly needs a bucket here.
See what Powell and the Rams could cook up here as we are approaching the midway point of the second half. Munford inside. Malesevic able to connect as he lays it in with a finger roll. 20 points now for Nick Malesevic.
Malesevic slipped in there, and a pretty fine by Munford.
So the Rams in this half doing a much better job against R.J. Hunter. It's been Devontae White that's been kind of tearing him up. White now with it against Munford. Brooks flashing out for support. Atkins drives it strong. Little nice move to get around Brooks that time. Lays it in and ties things up at 42.
Yeah, Brooks just needs to be a bit more aggressive on that. Looked like he was either trying to draw the charge or contest. Brooks got caught in no man's land.
Certainly did, and Atkins making him pay. Powell now, leaving it for Malesevic. 20 on the shot clock for Munford. Trying to use the screen from Brooks, now leaves it for Powell. Powell nearly traveled, able to hand off though for Brooks. Now Malesevic. Malesevic from just inside the free throw line, rattles in and out. And Georgia State now a chance to take their first lead of the game with 9:15 remaining in the second half. White now leaves it off for Green. Green, stutter step through the lane, now kicks out for Richardson. 3-ball no good. Malone with the rebound, and here comes Rhodey. Mike Powell. Munford was open for a moment. Now they get him the ball, goes baseline, up and off the glass, drops it in for 2. Xavier Munford gives the Rams the lead right back.
Very, very pretty move right there by Munford, able to slip baseline and then really adjust his body in the air and kiss that one off the window.
6 points now for the A-10's second leading scorer.
Georgia State heavy on ball screens, as we've seen all day long, but one thing they're doing here in the second half, they're not really known as a ball screen drive and kick team, and as we see it right here, they are driving and kicking much more in the second half. Usually they're a drive to the goal team.
And that time Kreider throwing it away. It'll be Rhodey ball. As Bergilos coming back in, but timeout on the floor will take 1-2 with Rhode Island leading 44-42. Rams leading by 2 here with 8:27 remaining in the second half. And fans, make sure to check out the Rhode Island men's basketball team against in-state rival Brown on January 4th right here at the Ryan Center. Join the Rams as they face off against the Bears next month. The game is scheduled for Friday, January 4th at 7 p.m. You can choose your seats at experiencerhodey.com.
And that's another revenge game for Rhode Island, if you will. Brown defeating URI 65-56 last year up at the Pizzatola Center. So Rhode Island looking to see if they can get one back.
Absolutely, Chris, as the Rams trying to finish off the Panthers in what has been a close one, pretty much as expected. Munford trying to dial it in from long range, doesn't get it to go. Rebound collected by Richardson. And the Panthers now with another chance to tie or take the lead. Devontae White working against Xavier Munford, now hands off for Hunter. Hunter, who's been a little bit quiet here in the second half. Long range shot that time out of Atkins, no good, and Malone able to come up with the loose ball.
Rhode Island fortunate right there because Atkins had a clean look. 44% shooter from downtown. Yeah, fortunately, Rhode Island got away with a back rim there on the part of Atkins.
Yeah, Atkins #1 in the Colonial Athletic Association. Munford able to connect from downtown, and the lead back up to 5 for the Rams.
First one on the day for Xavier was 0 for 4 until he let that one fly, but a good shooter has no conscience, and he elevated right there and dropped that one down.
Munford now with 9 second-half points for Rhode Island. Atkins able to slash in and finish with the easy bucket. Makes it a 3-point game. Atkins now with 9 points on the day for the Panthers. Malesevic trying to break down Atkins. Pushes it out for Munford. Launches the 3. Count it, and 1. Xavier Munford on fire here in the second half.
And Munford very quickly, 0 points at the half. Now he's got 12 with a chance for number 13 as he steps to the line.
So the Rams now with the lead back up to 6. Timeout on the floor. When we return, Munford will have a chance for the rare 4-point play. Rhode Island out to a 6-point lead with 7:21 left in the second half. Let's have a listen now to our Belltone Hearing Aid Center's sound of the game. Atkins now with 9 points on the day for the Panthers. Malesevic trying to break down Atkins. Pushes it out for Munford. Launches the 3. Count it, and 1. Xavier Munford on fire here in the second half.
And Munford very quickly.
Belltone Hearing Aid Center is the most trusted name in hearing aids, offering free hearing tests. Call 1-800-925-HERE for an appointment today. And Chris, Xavier Munford getting it done in the second half again. 0 points in the first half, all 12 now in half number 2.
Yeah, Munford has come to life, and Malesevic carrying this team through the first portion of this game, saying, come on, give me a wingman, give me a wingman. And Munford, not too late. Now 13 points here in the second half with 7:21 remaining.
Yeah, able to complete there the 4-point plays, and the Rams lead back up to 7 after Georgia State had come all the way back to tie things up at 40. Richardson back for White, and now around for Hunter. Atkins now. Hare giving some support defensively that time, flashing all the way out to take on Atkins. Devontae White runs into Hare again, dribbles it off his foot. Keeps it alive with 8 on the shot clock. Little stutter step through the lane, no good. Ball loose, and Andre Malone there for the Rams, able to get it off to Powell. Powell pushing it ahead for Malone. He'll hold up and wait for Powell. Under 7 to play, Munford. He's got 13 now in the second half. Rhode Island on a 9-2 run. Try to take command of this game again. Looking for their first winning streak of the season. Malesevic back outside for Powell. Outside Munford. Munford, who's been feeling it, puts up the 3. Count it! Fade away 3 with a man in his face. Xavier Munford now with 16 points.
Wow, hot in a hurry. That's all you can say. After struggling 0 for 4 previous to this last 2 or 3 minutes stretch, Munford is now El Fuego.
Yeah. Just like that, the lead back up to 10 points now for Rhode Island as Rhodey gets whistled for a foul. I think it's going to go against Munford. But it will. Take a look at that last play for Rhode Island. Powell able to kick it out for Munford.
Yeah, when you're a scorer, you're a scorer. You just can't teach this.
Fadeaway 3 after the step back. Not an easy shot. Not even on a video game, Chris. A tough one to make, but Munford makes it look easy.
And great resolve by Rhode Island shown here in this last few minutes stretch after Georgia State tied this ball game.
So the Panthers trying to answer. Richardson from downtown, no good. Malesevic getting great position that time, but has it knocked away by Hunter. Atkins there to keep it alive for the Panthers. Hunter strong, gets it to go, and picks up the foul on Malesevic.
There's Hunter again with that length, able to elevate, get those arms extended over the top of Malesevic, and pick up the foul on Malesevic as he just could not elevate with Hunter.
First 2 points of the second half for Hunter. As Malesevic just kind of ran into trouble there. He thought he was fouled. And then Hunter just driving strong to the hoop. So Hunter now the chance for the 3-point play.
And not a huge hack, but Malesevic did get him on the wrist.
17 points, 5 rebounds now for R.J. Hunter. As Malesevic frustrated on the bench. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of him this afternoon.
Here's the man pressure, and White will look to fly over if he has an opportunity, but he does not. Powell keeps it in the middle of the court.
Great spacing that time out of Powell and Munford, and bringing that ball up the court for Rhode Island. Didn't really give White the opportunity to slide over.
Agreed.
Powell now for 3. Count it! Mike Powell able to connect from downtown, and the Rams continue to light it up from deep. Mike Powell now with 5.
And Powell very quietly now shooting 40% from three-point range on the season.
R.J. Hunter puts it on the floor, pushes off, now launches a three of his own and is able to connect. And a little bit of trash talk that time out of R.J. Hunter right into the ear of Munford.
Yeah, the freshman is having a day, and he decided to let Munford know about it. I don't know that I'd do that, given the way Munford's shooting the ball right now as well.
Munford runs into trouble. Bergilos able to cut him off in the lane, turns it over. White now from beyond the arc, a little bit short. The rebound collected by Atkins. Munford coming from behind, but Atkins able to lay it in with the left. And the roadie lead sliced in half, down
Dan
5.
Hurley can't be happy about that. Georgia State just quicker to the ball right there, out hustling Rhode Island.
Yeah, really a little bit of effort that time. And Jordan Hare that time hearing it from Bobby Hurley as he comes off the court. And perhaps rightfully so. It's just the Rams not getting back quick enough that time.
Yeah, Rhode Island just needs to do a better job. It's gut check time now. There's 4:32 remaining in this game. You've built yourself a little bit of a cushion, but you can't just sit on that cushion. You got to keep playing hard, and you've got to scrap for every loose ball. Rhode Island had an opportunity right there to make that difficult, and instead, it was almost as though a lane was paved right to the hole for the Georgia State offensive player.
And really at this part of the game, Chris, is where the mental part of the game takes over. And fans, make sure to check out the Rhode Island men's basketball team against A-10 foe Charlotte on January 12th at the Ryan Center. Join the Rams as they face off against the 49ers next month. The game is scheduled for Saturday, January 12th at 2 p.m. Again, you can choose your seats at experienceroadie.com.
And picking up where you left off, Mike, you're exactly right. This is where the mental part of the game shows through. Again, the Rams building this from scratch. This is a process. And Dan Hurley with a very good timeout call right there to reset his team and get them focused.
The Rams have been hot from beyond the arc here in the second half. 4 of 6. Munford accounting for 3 of 5 of those three-point shots. So Powell now using a screen from Bigby. Tries to drive through, lost the handle, able to get it back and lay it in. Somehow able to get to that loose ball, and the lead back to 7. 7 points now for Mike Powell. As we have reached 4 minutes left in the second half, Rhode Island with a 7-point lead, looking for their second straight win. Hunter beyond the arc, now takes it inside. Off the glass and in, and they're going to get another foul against the Rams where it just looked like
that was
Hunter.
not a foul. That was not a foul. I can't say it any clearer. That was an aggressive drive to the hole by Hunter, but he was not fouled right there. That's a tough call, but you got to play through it. Continue.
59-54 Rhodey. We'll be back with more here on OSN. And welcome back to the Ryan Center. The Rams out to a 5-point lead. R.J. Hunter at the line already has 22 points on the afternoon. As Chris, we were looking over some of the key stats here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, with 3:49 left in the game, you've got to dig in and get defensive stops. And right now, neither team is really doing that. Georgia State shooting 47.8% in the second half. Rhode Island shooting a robust 57.9%. But when the shots don't fall, you could be in trouble. So one team has to step up and get some defensive stops. And certainly the Rams hope it's them.
Yeah, despite all the hot shooting, this is still just a 4-point game. The Rams on tap. Atkins able to steal that pass out of Malone. 12 turnovers now for Rhode Island. That exceeds their season average.
Telegraphed right there by Malone. Just a telegraph pass, an easy step in for Atkins.
Hunter now. Leaving it for Atkins. Atkins runs into the double team of Malone and Malesevic. Now trying to force the action. Pushes down Malesevic. White back up top. 10 on the shot clock for the Panthers. White trying to do it himself just inside the three-point line. Doesn't go. Malone able to sky in for the rebound. Brooks is there as well.
Yeah, nice job by Brooks again. Forcing White to retreat, not allowing him to turn the corner on that ball screen. You know, forced into a difficult shot. Didn't go down.
Munford now leaves it back for Powell. Still 20 on the shot clock for the Rams. They've built a 4-point lead now. They've led by as many as 10. Georgia State has never led in this one. Powell slashing through, gets it rejected by Bergilos. Never really had a chance. Quickly the other way, finishing with the easy layup was Rashad Richardson, and the lead now down to 2.
One possession game, and Rhode Island has to execute here. They've got to get a better shot than that shot last time. Again, that's an opportunity for Powell to take the floater, not try to drive it all the way in. 7
points now for Richardson. Powell leaves it up top for Munford, who's had a fantastic second half. Malesevic, who kept him alive in this one in the first half. Powell now puts up the jumper and gets it to go right with Bergilos coming over to challenge.
And there it is. 2 dribbles from Powell, under control, pulls up, and able to get that one to fall.
9 points now for the Rhody point guard, and Powell is going to get charged with another foul. The reach in against White.
That's a difficult call against Powell. Almost looked like an anticipation call. Powell was reaching for behind, but was coming up underneath, not over the top. And didn't really look like a foul on that particular play.
No, it really didn't. Unfortunately, we've had to say that a lot here today throughout the game. As Powell now with 4 fouls for Rhode Island. But it puts Devontae White at the line. Georgia State 13 of 18 so far at the free throw line today.
And needless to say, Powell needs to be extremely careful over this final 150 to not pick up that 5th foul. I'm sure they're going to continue isolating White in the ball screen game. Powell's going to be careful. Make sure he stays in this one.
Well, Ryan Brooks got the rebound off the missed free throw as Atkins picked up his 4th foul and a little bit of a reach in. So perhaps a makeup call that time going Rhody's way. Either way, it's going to put Brooks at the line on the season. Ryan Brooks just a 20% free throw shooter. 1 of 5 on the season. But has a chance here to come up with some clutch points for the Rams as they look to seal the deal on what would be their 4th win of the season. Again, still just a 1-1 as that was only the 8th team foul on the Panthers. So the senior out of New Jersey able to connect. Didn't do it the easy way.
Touched every part of the rim.
Off the back of the rim, off the backboard, and dropping in.
But still worth 1.
Yep, doesn't matter how it goes in, just matters that it does go in for the Rams at this point as the lead back up to 5. So Brooks will have a chance for his 2nd free throw attempt. And we're going to have a violation on Malesevic. Wouldn't have mattered anyway as Brooks missed the free throw.
If anything, it looked like an awkward rebound coming off that Georgia State might have been able to get some transition going with a push. So Rhode Island gets a chance to set their defense here with 1:40 remaining.
Well, 100 seconds left in the contest. Richardson now to Atkins on the near side. Atkins races around, leaves it out for White. Devontae White tries to force the action, now kicks it outside. Richardson for 3, no good. Kept alive by Atkins. Goes up strong, gets the foul, and gets the hoop. As away from the basket, Malesevic was hauled down by Kreider. There was no call. At the Rhody lead now down to 3. As Brooks picks up foul number 3 on the afternoon, it'll put Atkins on the line with a chance for the 3-point play.
Yeah, and more important than the foul number 3, Mike, which certainly has some significance, is to give Georgia State an opportunity to get this back to a 2-point game with the old conventional 3-point play.
Yeah, a chance to score points with the clock stopped as well. Something that the Rams trying to avoid here down the stretch. Atkins with a big free throw attempt now for the Panthers and gets it to go. And Coach Hunter's going to call a timeout to set up the defense as Atkins now with 14 points on the afternoon. With that, a big one to put the lead back at just 2 for Rhode Island.
1:27 remaining here, and Dan Hurley needs to settle these guys down, make sure they get a good quality shot on offense. I'd look for Malesevic once again. First of all, we need to see what Georgia State comes out, and it's possible that they could come out in the 1-3-1. If they do, look for Malesevic to operate around that foul line area. If they come out in the matchup again, I think they'll try to get some type of quick-hitting side ball screen action where perhaps Munford can put the ball on the deck and try to create for himself and others.
Again, the Rams got to be careful in terms of taking care of the ball. Already 9 turnovers in the second half, 12 total for the game, and that's after they did such an outstanding job in the first half. Let's take a look at the game reset there. Rhode Island still with 3 timeouts if they need them. Georgia State already in the double bonus. Rhode Island in the 1-1. Here we go. Mike Powell picked up by White. Malesevic now. Back for Munford. Munford, who's had a fantastic second half, has had the hot hand, but Malesevic doing a lot of damage as well for Rhody.
Georgia State in the matchup.
Powell now has to take it all the way back towards center court, down to 10 on the shot clock. Outside, Malone for 3. No good off the side of the rim, and R.J. Hunter there with a huge rebound for the Panthers. Under a minute to play.
Here's Bergilos with the ball screen again for White.
Georgia State not shy about playing these close games this season. White beyond the three-point arc with 15 on the shot clock. Races through the lane. Outside it goes for Green. Gives it back to Bergilos, down to 8 on the shot clock. White underneath the hoop. Rejected by Malesevic and the Rams. Oh, the Rams in desperate need of a big defensive stop, and they got it. As Munford gets fouled by Hunter, he'll head to the line.
Huge defensive play by the Rams to come up with that block and now get to the line for a chance to push this out to a 2-possession game.
So 3 fouls now on R.J. Hunter, putting Xavier Munford on the line as we take a look at that last defensive stand by the Rams. White in amongst the trees, and Malesevic able to come through with the block.
And nice entry pass just to the wrong guy down there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was White, the point guard, and not one of Georgia State's forwards or taller players. Unable to convert, gets that one sent back, and here's Munford now at the line.
Munford continues to stay perfect at the line. Now 4 of 4 and 17 points, all in the second half. As the Rams lead goes back up to 3, so here, a big free throw to make it a 2-possession game. Second shot from Munford is off the back of the rim. Brooks keeps it alive. Powell saves it as Malesevic is fouled right away by White. And Ryan Brooks coming up with perhaps a game-saving play.
Ryan Brooks has really done it all year. He's responded incredibly well to this new coaching staff, the senior who's getting meaningful minutes really for the first time in his career. And he's been doing all the types of little things that a guy like Brooks needs to do. Be a low-mistake player, get out there, hustle, and try to create and extend possessions for your teammates.
So Rhode Island now in the double bonus, but Malesevic, who's got 20 points, just 3 of 6 from the line, misses on the front end. Second one is also no good, so the lead remains at 3.
2 flat shots, and we'll see if Rhode Island learns from the Loyola game here with respect to switches and shooters.
Atkins puts up the 3, no good. Malesevic there for the rebound and gets hit right away by Kreider. That'll be 5 on Kreider. His day will be done.
Yeah, quick shot right there by Atkins. Falling away, didn't really have his feet set underneath him, and his balance was just off. Coach Ron Hunter certainly would have wanted to get a better look and a more quality look at the bucket for his team right there.
As again, the 5th personal foul on Kreider. It looks like they're going to check Travers back in for the Panthers. But the Rams missing on 3 straight free throws there, Chris. And again, we saw this haunt them in a couple of other games this season. They were able to hold on against Vermont, but let it kind of slip away against Loyola. Here, another opportunity now for the Rams to put this one a little bit more out of reach.
Yeah, it becomes very simple at this point in the ballgame. Simply inbound the ball, don't turn it over, and make your free throws. And if Rhode Island does that here with 9.4 seconds left, it's going to take, just an incredible finish for Georgia State to be able to pull it out. Otherwise, Rhode Island's in the driver's seat. All
right, let's take a look at the Supercuts most valuable Ram of the game. And really no surprise, Nick Malesevic.
Yeah, Malesevic has been consistent and steady throughout for Rhode Island on both ends of the floor. He's taken it off the dribble. He's hit shots from the outside. He's been efficient out there. Munford certainly got hot in the second half, but Malesevic has brought it for the full 40.
And wherever you go, there's a Supercuts to give you a cut that rocks. Supercuts has 31 Providence area locations, all dedicated to making you feel like a rock star. Check out supercuts.com to find a location near you. Rock the cut at Supercuts. And Malesevic, who is now 4 of 8 at the line, connects on a huge one to make it a 4-point game.
Yeah, shakes his head right there.
Rhode Island as a team now over 70% for the day at the line as Malesevic connects on his second. 22 points now for Nick Malesevic.
Play defense, make this team work to bring the ball up the court. Do not foul.
Quickly ahead comes White, looking for the quick bucket. Doesn't get it to go. Malone the rebound, and that should seal the deal for the Rams. And indeed it does. So the Rams win for the